Hi, welcome to the Recovery Roundup, our monthly exploration of sobriety, community, and well-being. My name is Carrie Dury. I'm the Director of Business Development here at Calvary Healing Center. And today I'm joined by Richard Snyder, our Unit Support Specialist here at Calvary. He and I are going to talk everything self-care. This topic comes up a lot. And when he and I were talking about maybe some things that we could review and chat about and educate and kind of shed light on, this one definitely came up at the forefront. And so I'd love to take some time with you today, Richard. Thanks for joining us, and pick your brain on this a little bit more. So let's kick it off. In your words, why is self-care so important? And we could talk in the recovery community, we could talk outside of that. It applies across the board. Why is it so important?
So I think no matter what I say, it can be all encompassing with recovery or outside of recovery. But self-care to me is important because if I'm not doing those things for myself, I don't get the motivation necessarily to push further to those things that I maybe don't want to take care of as much that day. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about this was self-care is so easy, and it's so easy to just do little things throughout the day and always check off a box for self-care. And that's usually my starting point is, did I brush my teeth this morning? Did I hit snooze twice instead of 3 times today? Did I at least attempt a healthy breakfast? And just start checking off the little things right away, because that'll set the tone for my day.
Absolutely. So you've already kind of hit on this, it sounds like. So how are you practicing self-care every day? What does that look like from your perspective?
So when I first started really diving into this myself, before even bringing it over into some of the lectures that I do here, it really did start with the smaller stuff, right? Because the big ticket items, like I'm going to go run up this mountain 3 times a week for my self-care. I can't do that right away. And it's also a little daunting at first, right? So it was all about slow builds with it. So for me, what it looks like is, again, I usually start the morning by trying to make sure I do something immediately for myself. And that's usually brushing my teeth or getting up when my alarm goes off, right? And as long as I can get to one of those things pretty quickly, the rest of the day seems to almost fall in place before I implement anything else. It's my way of setting a tone for a day. And if I start the day with a self-care routine, even as simple as brushing my teeth, then I can go to bed every night saying that I did something for myself.
Absolutely. It sets the tone. I don't know about you, but for me, on those days where I neglect that piece, it catches up with me by the end of the day. And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel less grounded or settled. And before we came on here, we were talking about parenthood and navigating that world. I mean, more than ever, you got to take those moments for yourself. And I love what you said. I think the morning routine sets the tone for the day.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, whether that be, someone in recovery or, someone who's a student, a high school student, it all is still applicable in my opinion. I'm trying to get better at it too over here.
I don't think anybody ever is perfect at it right away. It's one of those things that's you can lose track of very easily as well, which again is why I just try and start a day with it, right?
Exactly. And I like what you said, where you were like, I'm not going to run up a mountain every day or 3 days a week. Like, highly ambitious. I support people who do that, but that's not maybe the best starting point. Maybe we really need to kind of dial it back, which is maybe just going for a walk in the neighborhood for 30 minutes. Let's start there. Let's see what that looks like first. Incorporating that in. So we know it obviously self-care obviously has a big component, plays a big role, and is a huge component in our overall mental health. Are there any other tips or things that you, I know you mentioned how you incorporate it, but for those that are looking to get started, I know you probably work with our patients quite a bit about establishing maybe a routine is part of self-care. What do you think are some easy tips maybe to start this? I have a couple of thoughts on it, but curious to know what yours would be. If someone's looking to really spend time on themselves, where does someone start?
So routine is honestly usually my go-to when I am
Yeah.
talking to patients about this. And I usually start it off by saying, let's make a list of the small things that we do throughout a day that can be attributed to self-care. One of the groups I do, one of the questions I asked is if patients ever have a day where they feel like they didn't do anything for themselves. And then I'll prove them wrong, right? And that list, that very base level list is kind of the start to it, right? We all have those base level hygiene things. And the reality is just waking up can be attributed to self-care that day. So as far as getting started on a good routine, start with small, right? I'm very big on that. The small things are going to lead up to the bigger things. And if I check off brushing my teeth, making my bed, not hitting snooze so many times in the morning, helping my daughter brush her teeth, which is fun for both of us, or, making us a healthy breakfast. If I just do like even just one of those, which are very easy to check off in the morning, I'm more likely to get into wanting to do something more throughout the day, right? It's almost a build to it because later that day, maybe I'll go check out that mountain I want to eventually run up and, take the trail at the bottom that just circles it and doesn't actually have an incline and feel that out. And without starting a day like that, it'd be very hard for me to just halfway through the day decide to go do that. I'd already be kind of in that mindset of, well, I'm not taking care of myself, so I may as well just continue sitting on the couch not doing anything today. So as far as implementing it from the start, like start small, man. That's the biggest thing with this is the little things are going to really, really lead you up to the bigger things that you'd like to accomplish with self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's I can share something. I don't know if everyone's got their thing, but for me, I like to walk, even if it's first thing in the morning, just to get out for 15 minutes and walk. Dog, baby, whatever, load them up, let's go. I enjoy doing that. Or in the evening at the end of the day, but making sure I've carved out time because I know I like to do that. I think that is always really helpful for me. Sometimes I just need a minute. I like to read, and even if I have 15 minutes before bedtime, reading a chapter may not be overly, involved at this point in a stage of my life, but at least it's something that I feel like, I can check that box, going back to what you originally said, that I set out with an intention to do it. I woke up that day knowing I wanted to do those things. It was sometimes life throws you curveballs. You can't do it right then and there like you thought you were gonna, but you find another time or another opportunity in the day and don't forget about that. Because yeah, it is really easy to be like, all right, well, today's over, I ate pizza for lunch. I don't want to go to, exercise or move my body. Okay, so let's just forget it.
Yeah, I think everybody can relate to those days for sure. I mean, again, though, too, like that's the big part of the small things too. It's one of those ways that I kind of prove to patients when I'm doing lectures on this that they do something for themselves every day, which is again, like the reading is a big thing for me too. And one of the ways I found to get around it, especially being a new parent, right? Because it's hard to find time for anything is I don't worry about reading new things. I've been reading a lot of things I've already read. So if I don't accomplish it, I don't feel like I'm missing out on the story or get bummed out that I'm not getting through it to the next book in the sequence or something. It's something I already know, right? But I'm still reading.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I may have to, no pun intended, take a page out of your book and do that. That's actually a really good idea because yeah, there's this, like you want to get through it, but if it's something you've already read, it's like, okay, well, I'm just coming back to it. This is just the extra stuff at this point. I'm not missing out necessarily on anything new. Well, those are some great tips. And I know at Calvary, we really promote this across the board. For us, I think self-care for our patients comes from us, leading by example. I'm a big believer in that. Our patients who are entering into our place oftentimes are scattered in that regard and have lost sight of what it means to take care of themselves, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, any of those things. So I know it's up to us. You guys all do a fantastic job. You have a really big role in that. I know our patients come back and they say time and time again, our staff is what gets them back on track. And I think it's often because they're watching and able to see how you have put one foot in the other over the years to get to where you are or whatever. And I know that they kind of they just gravitate towards that, and they try to implement that in their own life. So consistency, and starting small, and celebrating the little things along the way. Like, all right, I got up 15 minutes earlier today than I normally would, and I made my bed, and I'm showered up, ready to go. Like, huge win, huge. And, recognizing that and celebrating that, that's what it's all about, in my opinion,
Yeah.
So, anything else that you wanted to share on this topic?
Well, the one big thing, one of the reasons why I wanted to do self-care today, and one of the reasons why I even started doing groups on it here, is because if you look at especially just recovery, if you're taking everything else out of self-care and why it's important, in recovery itself, like, it's literally self-care. Everything you're doing to maintain yourself in recovery, to better your mind, to better your body, it's all self-care, right? From the first decision of, I think I need help, into the very end when you have years sober, people are maintaining their sobriety because they're caring for themselves and because they're making sure that they're doing the things to the best of their ability that are best for them, right? And it's one of those things where it doesn't matter what you do to progress recovery in general, it can all be self-care. I mean, patients oftentimes look down upon themselves for having to come to a treatment facility. And it's one of those things I harp on. Like, no, you get to be here. I know so many people that aren't in recovery that could really use stuff like this, because it really teaches you how to love yourself. And that all starts with doing some small self-care stuff and building on it from there.
100% agreed. And thanks, that kind of brings us back full circle to where we started, which is, starting small, but your role at Calvary as a unit support specialist, giving people that reassurance that, look, the fact that you're here and made that leap in your journey is huge.
Yeah.
Ultimate form of self-care that you've recognized that. I absolutely, that in and of itself is. All the other stuff will help you, and whether it be through our detox residential or one of our outpatient programs, try to build those skills. But absolutely, walking through that door, that's the ultimate form of self-care.
That's the running up the mountain for some people, is just admitting they have the issue and giving our facility or another a call and saying, hey, I think I need some help.
Absolutely.
That's the first step in that journey.
Very cool. Well, I think we've about covered what we set out to do and talk about today. I thank you for your time. I know you're busy down there and trying to get everyone dialed into their self-care on the unit. So I will let you get back to it. But thank you again. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a hectic couple weeks over on the unit, so appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for bearing with me to figure out a time for me to get on. And thanks for letting me do this. I love doing this sort of stuff. So keep me in mind for anything in the future too.
Absolutely. We will. Thanks, Richard. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you on the next episode of the Recovery Roundup. Bye.